the formula for making things grow. And it's kind of like not even optional, really. Here it is: time and energy. Time and energy. Every human being is born with basically two things: your time, you got a certain number of days on this planet, certain number of minutes, certain number of hours, certain number of days and weeks and months, turns into years and decades. Everybody's is different for the most part, but that's kind of what we get handed to us. All right? Your time. The second thing you have is you have energy. You're alive. And what that means is when you have energy, what does that energy mean? Well, I like to think of it the way Jesus talked about it. He said, it's your heart, your mind, your soul, and your strength. Your heart, your mind, your soul, and your strength. We have the energy of our hearts, what we care about, of our souls, all of our gifts and talents and abilities and feelings and all of that stuff. Your mind, how you construct your belief systems, and then the strength of applying that and putting the pedal to the metal. See, here's what happens. That's what we take into the time that we have. So you wake up with a day, you got your heart, mind, soul, and your strength, and you get to spend that in the context of that time period. All right. So when I said it's inescapable, that's what's going to grow, that's what I mean. So let's say, for example, so I write books, right? And let's say I'm in book writing season or book writing mode. Well, if I've got call it 300-page manuscript that's due at a certain date, then one of the things I do is I start to map out in between now and that date, I map out chunks of time. And I know that in those chunks, that's where I've really got to spend my time and energy, right? In that chunk to produce a certain amount that's going to add up to a certain amount. It's going to add up to another amount. It's going to add up to 4 more pages and 6 more pages and keep going. And then finally we got to 300 pages because you take the energy, your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and you invest it in that. Okay. Let's say that you are depressed. All right. You wake up in the morning, you've got so much time and so much energy of your heart, mind, soul, and strength. I realize if you're depressed, a little diminished, but you have some. And so we can invest that in, I'm going to listen to some podcasts on overcoming depression. I'm going to read a book about this or about what's depressing me. I'm going to go down and join a support group. I'm going to call a friend and process what's going on. There's a lot of different things, but as we invest our heart, mind, soul, and strength in whatever we're trying to drive forward, that's what begins to grow. Or another area, if you want to improve your marriage, for example, how are you investing time and energy towards that goal of improving your marriage? Same thing. I could be reading some books. I could listen to some podcasts. I could spend different kinds of more quality time with my spouse. We could join a couples group, invest some time and energy to do that. We could go to a couples retreat. We could go to a counselor. We could find an older couple that's made it 30 years and ask them to mentor us and put some time and energy. There's 1,000 different ways. The point is, all we have is time and energy. So my question that I want you to think about is this: are you spending your only real resources? See, those are the ones that are pretty much, irreplaceable. Other stuff is replaceable. Some people say, well, I wasn't born much. My parents were poor or, whatever. Well, there's a lot of people that are born with rich parents and then they lose it all and then they have to replace it again. See, or where I am or opportunity, all of that stuff we can replace with the investment of our time and energy. But that's where the focus has got to be. So I want you to do this. I want you to do a little bit of a time and energy audit. Okay. And I want you to put up on the top of the paper, this goal or that goal. Okay. Here's what I care about. Okay. Here is the time and here's the energy in the last week, month, 6 months that I have invested in specifically that goal. And then do it forward going forward. Because what you're going to find is that where we are investing those two things, our time and our energy, is where we're going to see the growth. Some people invest it on being a couch potato. Where'd you had how many hours this week? Let's say 20 extra hours at, evenings and weekend, whatever. Let's go back and look at those. Well, I watched, 8 movies. Okay. Well, there's where your investment is. So that's great. You enjoyed yourself. If that's the return you're looking for, that's great. But if you were trying to move the needle on some other goal, then there's where it went. That's why we have to look at our investment. What do you want to grow? And are you investing your time and energy there?